Thanks, Rogue Zeta. At least you care. Okay, I'm here. I fail. I fail big time, and it always happens on the streams when Steve raids in on me. So, okay. Everybody see me? Everybody hear me? It says I've got audio. Audio. Is it working now? Hooray! Thanks, Mad Dog Jeff. I'm hoping that audio is now fixed. I took a vow of silence. Hello? Hello? So it's all working now? Yes, audio is working. Thanks, Rogue Zeta. Okay, I am Phil. I am the Down Under Maker. I'm an idiot who can't work OBS by the looks of it, and it always happens when I'm on a Steve Builds raid-in. Today we're going to be working on my Core 1 to Core 1 Plus upgrade, and we are going to be fitting the bits and pieces which mean that it can open the little top vent on the top. On the top, up here. And we are going to be fitting the replacement filament sensor, which allows it to be able to print flexibles. Okay, so deep breath, Phil. You screwed it up. Get over it. Let's move on. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's not normally this bad. I'm not normally this big of an idiot. I normally check a few more things before I start streaming, but I got sidetracked by a text message from kids' school and all the rest of it just before I was supposed to hit go live and I didn't. So first of all, we're going to take off the lid and do the fitting of that part, and then we'll move on. Phil comes from the land down under where beer does flow and men do chunder. Yes, we do. And just for anybody who really, really wants it, here's the upside down. Yep. So we've got that covered. You don't want to see that one. You don't want to see that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop out the plastic rivets, and we're going to take the lid off, and that will allow a bit better access into the printer, and we'll go from there. So for those of you who don't know, there's little basically pins that go into little plastic rivets which hold the cover panels on. And when you get a Core 1, you get a little pack of extras just in case you lose any. But it means that you can pop the panels off relatively simply without having to have any tools. You just need your decent set of fingernails and you can pop them out. Open up the door, light press, and we've got the cover off. So let's go to here. Now, there's going to be reflections. There's not an awful lot I can do about it, but essentially there's a cover panel here which opens and closes to allow you to run PLA or heated chamber, and we're going to need to take some of these screws out and do some adjusting so that we can fit a couple of bits of plastic to the bottom, which will allow the tool head to then engage with the flap so it can open and close it automatically for us with the new firmware. I have already got the firmware downloaded. You can get it from prusa3d.com/downloads and just download it. It's version 6.4, I think. And if you jump onto printables, you can also get the printed parts STLs to print the replacement parts that you need as well. I've already done all that. Now, I just want to admit something for all my regulars. Yes, I am a bit daft. This is exactly the same color as the ABS I used, but it's PLA+. And I printed this 10 times and it kept coming out messy before I realized that I had got the PLA+ loaded and not the ABS, which is exactly the same color. And it came out much nicer for some reason. I wonder why. So yeah, let's jump into Chrome, and I've already got the printables document pre-searched. And this is directly from Prusa Research themselves, and it has all of the STL downloads, and if you go here somewhere, it's got the help article. Now, it does have some very clear and very obvious print settings to use. Definitely follow them, because if you don't, the parts which engage with the top cover aren't going to be rigid enough. Just printing it at 20% infill isn't going to cut it. It will be too flexible. I've actually used polycarbonate. I didn't have any PCCF available at the moment, so I've just gone with straight polycarbonate. If I end up having to reprint it, I will do. It's no big deal. It's just 2 parts in about 20 minutes of my time. Just having a look at chat. The huge dino. Laughing my ass off upside down. Good on you, dude. John Doe's here. Alex is here. Mad Dog. Questionable Choices is always around. He's a good guy in Kaggle 3D. Now, hopefully Maker Viking is also still around and hasn't had to go to bed. If he has, then that's no big deal. But I will give a quick plug to Tinker Atlas, which is his website that is created as a social media platform for us creators. By creators, I'm not talking necessarily about content creators like me. I'm talking about people who make things. He's got people with lasers, people with 3D printing, people who like to print with goop and all that sort of stuff. And they're all on there, and it helps you connect with people who are relatively local to you. The whole point of it is to create a worldwide community and also to help you engage with people local to you. So Tinker Atlas is definitely worth a look, and please go and sign up if it's something that's going to float your boat. Just having a look here. No, nothing more. FYI, PLA love a 100C print bed. It really did love it, Kaggle. It stuck. Oh, you are still here, Maker Viking. That's awesome. So let's jump into what it says here. The assembly guide for the community version is available in this help article. Prusa Core One to Core One Plus upgrade. The new key features: automatic grill opening to ensure the environment is optimal. Required components. Again, it makes it really clear what the print settings are supposed to be. Make sure you follow them, and make sure that if you're printing for ABS settings, that you actually have ABS loaded. Any chance you can bump your mic a little? You're muffled. Ah. Is this any better? Okay, I'll hope it's better. I've got about a 6 or 7 second delay. So thanks, Nick, for posting the link. Volume not super low, but I have volume up to... I can bump you guys up a little bit more. Is this any better? What about this? This should be a lot better. If I go too much higher, it's going to start clipping. Hopefully this is good. Soft on your end compared to Steve. It could be that I've adjusted some settings earlier for jumping into Projects in Dad's Garage podcast, and yeah, I had to adjust things to make it balanced there too. Okay, so everybody seems happy with the volume, so that's good. So let's have a quick look at this. For this process, we need 2 magnets, which you can recycle out of the old sensor. That's easy. We need the O-ring, which you can print if you need to, or you can buy. And you can either remove from the old part or purchase some M3 nuts, which I'm going to pull out of the old sensor, so that's no big deal. Left lid on and side panel. I'm not sure what you're on about, Tulsa, so I'll keep going, and if I work it out in a minute. I did this upgrade. I did not take anything off apart. Take off. Oh, okay. The reason I'm taking it off is it's going to be easier for you guys to see as I stream it. So yes, you can leave it on, but I figured having read this instruction, it's going to be much easier for you to see what's going on if it's outside the printer. 3D&T, Dave, what are we doing today? I can't read titles, I am blind. Core One Plus upgrade. Who has M3 nuts? Now, questionable choices. This is a square nuts situation. So we're going to pull the square nuts out of there. It's not normal M3 hex nuts. It's not even hammerhead T nuts. So yeah, let's have a quick look at this and scroll down a little bit further. Now it says to start with the tool head first. I'm not going to, just for now. I'm going to do the grill and we'll move on to the printer in a few moments. So we need to loosen all the screws on the grill and remove them from the assembly. Let's go there so you can see a bit better. Now, when I got my Core One, for those of you who are new to my streams, I won it from a charity stream run by Nomad's Galaxy. Top guy, definitely support him if you can, like and subscribe him and all that stuff. And I originally got the printer and had a few niggles with it. The original filament sensor, because the filament sensor that's in there now is something I printed myself, wasn't quite right. And having spoken recently to the Prusa Australia rep, he believes that there was a 2-week period where there was a batch produced that weren't quite right. So it wasn't just me, and I'm just watching where that screw lands before I lose it. There have been other people who've had the same niggly problem I've had, where the PTFE wasn't fully inserted and it was trapping the filament. So the filament sensor was actually kind of working against its whole purpose. It was trapping filament on the tool head side of the sensor. So if you ran out of filament, there was no way to eject the filament that was in the system to then change the filament, which made life difficult. I think you're the only person who has won a Prusa printer. Yes, for those of you who don't know, both Bearded Printer and I have won Prusas this year, and we've probably completely done our dash in terms of luck and things. So that looks like it's the original factory cover, and I might reuse that. That is the new cover I've just printed. So we'll work on that in a moment. Okay, so carefully slide the grill out from underneath while keeping both parts aligned. Flip the grill over. Okay. So it wants us to have it. I'm just going to turn this around so it's orientated exactly like I'm seeing on my screen here. Move the keyboard out of the way for a sec. And I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to jack the whole thing up on this little piece of aluminium I prepared earlier, which is an old drawer handle, and prop it up. Insert the screws again. So it's actually told me to flip the sliding grill plate over for some reason. Don't understand why, but we'll trust the system. And all those screws are in place. Carefully lift the entire assembly with all parts positioned in place. Then place this piece I'm just trying to work out which way around that goes. So that is that way. Yep. Slide this to there so it's all in place. Now, trying to do this without something to lift this off seems like a lot of hassle to me. So I'm glad I read ahead and grabbed myself this little riser. And I'm just trying to get that screw in and it's not starting very easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find, where did I put my drill set? I'm just going to find a drill bit and just countersink into the top of the apart just slightly to give myself a better chance of getting these screws started easily. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go a bit off script. We don't need to actually have the last screw go through anything. So I'm going to put that into place now ahead of time because it's going to stop me losing the plate. So that's in. It's also going to help keep things aligned a little better. And I'm actually going to turn that 90 degrees. So I'm actually holding it like this, turn 90 degrees, because that allows me to see far easier what I'm doing. I'm being very gentle because this screw feels like it's about to strip. And if it strips, I'll just replace it. That's not. Sorry guys, I'm just reading through what's going on in chat at the same time as doing this. Tulsa is saying I need to be very careful that I've got it all aligned properly. Otherwise it doesn't line up. And I've stripped the head on that screw, which is always an awesome thing to do. It's really surprising how soft the head was on that, to be honest. So that to me looks like it's an M310. Yep, M310. Don't do what I did, kids. Make sure that you're paying attention and you don't strip these screw heads. Got to pay for college somehow. Yes, Dave. Now, rather than run myself into trouble again, I'm going to put these screws in ahead of time just to cut myself a thread hole. So as you can see, when you come to my streams, the chat is a little bit more out there than Steve's chat and a few other people. I don't mind. A little bit rough and ready is all good by me. So that's definitely all lined up properly. That's fine. That opens. It doesn't quite open right, so I must have got that turned left to right by accident. Thank you for pointing that out, Tulsa. So let's turn that way. All right, so that's in place now. Replacement screw is ready to go in. That goes that way. With that all lined up. Very gentle this time. "4 a.m. then, make a Viking," I completely understand. No, you had it right. Look at the end holes. Gah! I'm having one of those days. All right, it's easy enough to take off now. And that one has stripped too. Was that in fact a Torx? Is that why I've had difficulty? No, it doesn't look like it. If Steve Builds is watching right now, he's shuddering, going, "What is that hack doing?" Making my Nexus. Just saying goodnight. Stripping with Phil. We should rename the video, shouldn't we, Nick? Let's get rid of that screw. Who said this looks straightforward? Yeah, that one's definitely stripped too. So that one's off. Well, if nothing else, we've completely and utterly reinforced the fact you need to double and triple check that you've got this plate orientated the right way around. Yeah, so back to what I was saying about the Core One. I had no end of difficulties with it for about the first 4 months. The filament sensor kept trapping filament in the PTFE tube that runs from the sensor to the tool head, and it just made life a misery for a long, long time. It was like being in an abusive relationship. Then I noticed that Prusa had replaced the sensor STLs, so I printed the new version just out of interest to see if it would help me, and it was a night and day difference. All of a sudden the PTFE slid all the way home, and it was an awful lot deeper than it had been before, so it made a big difference to my experience. So that's in place. Time for the last screw this time, hopefully for the last time. Chet only buys Creality. I still stand by my statement that there's nothing wrong with Creality printers if you go in with your eyes open. That's a different screw type. Looks correct as long as the cam view is not backwards. Nomad, hi! Were your ears burning? Because we were just talking about you, my guy. Saying that I had a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this printer until I reprinted the filament sensor. Now, as an owner of a Core One, and I'm sure Tulsa will agree with me, you have to be super careful just to get this just right in terms of the tension. It needs to be just tight enough that it's not going to lose lots of hot air through the vent, and it needs to be just loose enough that it will slide freely, especially now we're going to have the automated grill adjustment. Projects in Dodge Garage, if it weren't for my Ender 3, I wouldn't have spent thousands on Vorons. Agreed. If the Ender 3 was a better printer, none of us would be spending the thousands and thousands of dollars that we are doing. So, turning it over so everybody can see, that part is in place. It's tight enough that it won't just slide, but it's loose enough that it's no big difficulty to slide it if you want to. Ender 3's build character and patience. Agreed. Now, am I one of those people who says that everybody needs to own an Ender 3 and learn on it? No. Am I one of those people who says that having an Ender 3 teaches you good things about maintenance and mechanics of repairing a 3D printer? Yes. But nobody should have to go through the heartache and pain. Now what I'm doing is I'm just going to take this side panel off because it's going to be far easier for you guys to see what's going on. You don't need to do this for the actual process. I'm doing it for you guys so you can see more easily. I should probably switch to that one. So what I've done is I've just pulled out the rivets from the side panel and I'm just popping it off and putting it to one side so you guys can actually see what's going on a little bit better. Now let's see if I can zoom in a little bit better for you guys. That's going to be a better view, I think. There. Ender 3, it was like an abusive relationship. It doesn't have to be. They can print reliably. And don't forget, guys, they were the OG print farm machine. So once you got them set up, if you left them alone, they were pretty good. Heartache equals learning curve. But it shouldn't have to be tough. It should never have to be tough. So we're going to scroll back up now on the instructions to the first part, where it's actually talking about removing the side cover off the tool head. And there's only maybe 3 or 4 turns needed to get that screw to be loose. Same with that one. And I'm going to very carefully remove it. And that I'm going to put to one side so I don't lose it. Now, next thing we're going to do is to just simply put that straight back on. I'm just going to put the screws into the plate ahead of time. Biddy. What doesn't kill you burns your house down. Oh, you're talking about ANET A8s, are you? Yep, got the right screwdriver. Now I'm just doing this till it's finger tight, nothing more, and that's already in place. Let's go to the side cam so you can see it close up. Both those screws are in, and that is, it's a little bit more flexible than I'd like, but I think that's going to be fine. And like I said, if I need to, I can reprint it in PCCF down the track as soon as some comes in. The downside about living in Western Australia is we're a long way from everywhere, which means that it's sometimes a week or so before you can get a delivery of new stuff. So the next thing we're going to have to do is the filament sensor. So I'm going to leave that side panel off. I'm going to adjust that down just a little bit. And we're going to have a look at the next part of the instructions. Okay. In the following steps, we will guide you through upgrading the filament sensor assembly, which features a completely new body with a mechanical sensor switch. As part of the procedure, you'll upgrade the spool holder to the new design. Like I told you guys, I'm not actually going to do the spool holder. It's not something I need to. Dave is a very brave man, but not that brave. He wouldn't get a Prince Albert done for his charity stream. For shame. We don't talk about money and printers. It's PTSD. I can see that. Myco makes, best thing about Creality I owned was the refund they gave me. I can see that being the case for some people. So one thing I need to do to get this up to speed is I actually need to take off my filament holder to get it out of the printer so that I can access the screw for the, and I should have done this before I powered it off because I'm going to have to tram the bed again now. A little bit more. All right. So to get the spool holder off, there's 4 little screws on the inside of the chamber. This spool holder is available on printables. It was on a shorts reel that Prusa released as a Joe reviewing mods for the printer, and he gave it an 11 Prusas out of 10. So I figured I'd give it a shot, and it actually works really nicely for me here. Like I said, well, like I told everybody while I wasn't here and I was muted, I live between the desert and the ocean, so filament goes off really fast here. And if I don't keep my filament in a dry box, then it just goes brittle and disgusting very, very quickly. So this is what it is. I've got a little foam seal that runs around the edges to keep it nice and sealed. And yeah, I've been liking it so far. It's working well. So where are we at? We now have access on the inside to get to the screws that are on the parts that are on the inside. And I can get to these screws underneath here. One. Two. Now, if you are going to do it this way, just remember that the filament is at 45 degrees and it's actually inserted into the filament sensor on the inside at 45 degrees. So you have to kind of pull it away and down at the same time in order to release it. And on the inside here, we have our sensor. This actually is quite painful to do, and I don't really want to have to remove it from my printer if I can avoid it. So I might try and set this up so that you guys can watch me do it inside the printer. we'll see how we go. Push the tool head over there out of the way. Wrong size screwdriver here, need that one. So let's see if this guy, it gives you a better view. Only just. That's better. Now, when I reassembled the sensor, when I replaced it, I've got myself a little tiny splinter in my finger. There. There we go. Sorry, I had a little tiny metal flake in my stuck in the edge of my finger. When I replaced the sensor originally, I had trouble getting the wiring all nice and neat on the inside. So hopefully this means that I can undo that problem with the new version. So cover is off. Screws are set aside. Now there's 3 screws on the sensor. Let's see if I can show you on the Chrome image. So there's 3 screws. There's one here, and one in the middle. When you're disassembling the sensor, don't touch the one in the middle. No need to. That actually holds the rocker arm in place. Worry about that after the fact. Okay, so I've got the PTFE out of the sensor, and now I'm going to very carefully undo the tiny grub screw that holds the circuit board you can see in the picture. It's not a grub screw, it's just a tiny screw. Trust me on this, as soon as you can do it with your fingers, do it with your fingers. Because when I did it the first time, I dropped it, and it took me 10 minutes to find it in the bottom of the printer. Just very carefully easing the plug off the sensor so that I can grab it out and show you guys. So this is the sensor that actually does the work. Standard optical sensor, we're quite used to using those. You love how the whole theme of these streams is give Phil a hard time? That's okay, I don't mind. You're 800 Prusa meters away from your Core One. That is nice. I think I might have just enough Prusa meters to get 1 spool, except the Prusa meters don't cover shipping, and the shipping here is more than the spool is worth. So I'm probably not going to cash it in. What I may do, just for giggles, is I might end up using it as a prize. Now, actually, before I take this apart, I'm going to show you something. Before you take your magnets out, do yourself a favor and paint them with a texter, anything, a Sharpie, you guys call them in America. Paint them with something so that you know which way around they go. If you don't, you're then spending 10 minutes pulling them out and putting them back in until you get it right. So I'm going to put a blue on that one, and I'm going to put a blue on this one, so I know that the blue side goes up when I'm putting them into the sensor. Now these mechanism rather. So the magnets are out. I'm putting them to the side just so that I don't lose them. Now you can't get the ball out, thank goodness, until you take the lever arm out. So the screw is going to go next to the magnets because it all sticks together nicely. That means I can then get the marble out, which also sticks to the magnets, and then I can take the lever arm out. In theory, you don't need to. That's all going to be put aside and discarded. But let's have a look at this. So what we've got here is the new version. I've already put the lever arm in. Where's my pliers? And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the ball bearing into its little hole so that we can't lose it. I'm then going to get the lever arm and I'm going to put it back into its spot. So that the marble can't go anywhere. And then I'm quickly putting that screw into place so that nothing else can fall out. Yeah, shipping within the US being free, that's all well and good for you projects, but it doesn't help me here in Australia, unfortunately. So the lever arm is in place. Let's have a look at the rest of these instructions on the browser. So it says to put all the stuff in a safe place like I did. It also says we need to get those little collets out of the block, which I've done. And that goes in this one. So I swapped the little PTFE collet into place, and we need to get the square nuts out. Now, when I did this the last time, I found the easiest way was to use a small Allen key, pop it in and slide it over, pop it in, slide it over, and then rinse and repeat until it pops out. Sorry, I should put this on the that one so you can see better. So basically I've just used an Allen key in through the hole to prod the square nut over to the point where I can grab it. One. I'll do this one on the overhead. So pop it back into its original spot. Pop it in so it slides over, and then just work your Allen key in until it's all the way slid over, and then pops it loose. And then you can use the originally supplied Prusa pliers to pull it out the side. Pop one in. Pop number two in. It's not fitting as nicely, but I can deal with that. That's a very nice interference fit. It looks like it's a lot tighter than it is. It's just because it's small and steel, it's difficult to press on. So just aligning the screw thread hole with the plastic. Same on this side, very gently. It's gone a little far. So I'm just going to caress it back a little bit through the top. And that is now aligned perfectly in the middle. And the same with that one. So next up we have our filament switch, which appears to go in here. Now, something that they do point out and make very, very, very clear in the printing instructions, make sure you print the switch in a highly contrasting color so that you can see it. And I agree with that sentiment, because on the inside of the printer, you're not going to be able to see, it's too dark. So if you print it all in black, you're not going to be able to see. So that's now all in place. And next we need to insert those magnets. Where did I put the magnets? I put them here. I put them behind chat so I couldn't lose them. There they are, stuck to the file. That's not fitting easily by hand. I've got my parallel pliers, so I may as well use them. They're not the genuine ones, they're just knockoffs from AliExpress, if anybody's wondering. And the plastic part is exactly the same dimensions as the magnet, so you just align it both sides and it just fits in nicely. Slider switch is in place. Now, I'm just going to point it out. There is a snap clicky locky tab that fits very comfortably into the shell. So there's a little dimple here and a little dimple here that it snaps into, so that you've got a very positive locking position. Now, let's just quickly scroll down in Chrome and make sure that we're all going well. Now, this is the important part, and this is where, if you're not paying attention, you could spend 15-20 minutes. You need to make sure that the magnets are repelling each other and not attracting each other when they're in situ. It's not the end of the world if you get it wrong. It's easy enough to put it back. But I'll just go to that one. It's now in a position where it definitely wants to be pushed away. If the switch is, that's a really good demonstration. So it pushes it away. I'm not interfering in any way, and the little doohickey pushes it away. So yeah, now I'm just going to remark these again. So that when I disassemble it next time, if I ever have to, that's all ready to go. So let's have a quick look again at Chrome, make sure we've not missed anything. Insert the magnets so they repel, insert the switch. If the magnets attract, simply press the magnet out and flip it around. On the printer, insert the PTFE tube as far as possible into the filament sensor body. Insert the IR sensor into its cable groove. The lever must fit into the optical gate part of the sensor. Now, I took the sensor out to make sure that I could test this dry. That one. So basically it's looking to make sure that that little lever can break the optical sensor's vision. Just here. And that definitely is working, and it's a nice free movement as well. So there should be no reason why I couldn't push filament back past this, which was one of the problems I was having before. Night Pidgey, just having a look what's going on. Oh, Clanham's made it. You just use a blowtorch. Okay, Nomad. Now, Nomad, is there any reason why I can't use the original factory cover? or does it just not fit? It looks like it's a different part, so no, you can't use the. Yes, it's a different part. It's a different shape. And I've just noticed that there's a little bit of filament inside the spot where the screw is going to go into, so I'm just cleaning that out. That's all fine. That one's good. Now it does look like I need to readjust my Z height just ever so slightly on the Core One. It's just that little tiny bit too high. You can see the filament's not 100% smooth on there's still the extrusion lines. So I need to maybe drop it by 0.05 or something, but it's not too bad. So we've got the sensor into place, but I need to take it out again. Talking about the screws again. So white wire goes to that side. Double checking this all matches. White wire to that side. That's all ready to go in. So let's go back to those instructions. It says, on the printer, insert the PTFE tube as far as possible. Okay, so that's all the way in and it's at the same depth that matches my previous sensor, so that's good. Hi Penguin, how are you? That's all in place, so now I need the switch. And this is the part I had all the difficulties getting in nicely the last time, so I'm just going to have another look at this diagram. Push it all the way into there, and then fold it back on itself. Seems to be what they're saying. They must have tweaked that design just slightly because it fits so much nicer than it did on the previous version. Now, which screw does it say to put in first? Okay, it says to put the tiny screw in first. And I'm not going to question that. I just need to find my little screwdriver. There. So this is the screw that holds the sensor into place. That's... Oh no. That's the screw I've just dropped onto the floor, but found it immediately, thank goodness. Are these screws magnetic? You don't know why you're still awake? No, it's a stainless steel screw, so that's not going to help me. Let's go side cam. Now, in order to get that screw to seat, I just had to squeeze the sensor into its slot just a little bit harder. And this is probably sounding very muffled up against the printer, and I apologize. So I had to, let's go to this picture here, just so I can explain it better. So I had to press on the sensor just here, just a little bit so that the screw would line up, and then it all just popped straight into place. There was no difficulties once I'd got the sensor pressed all the way home. So that's now in. And now we're going to put the side cover on with the 2 screws that came out in the first place. And it's a new cover, so I do need to use the new version. Otherwise it doesn't hold the slider switch in its slot properly. Nomad, have you done this upgrade yet on yours? One. Oh, you're back, Nomad. I was just asking, have you done this changeover on yours yet? I know that Tulsa's done his printer. And in. The Pope is back in the house. I'll take that as some sort of euphemism. Just tweaking the sensor unit to get it under the bar. You guys are probably seeing it an awful lot better than I can. You have to kind of slide it in under the linear bearing. You're the 3DP Pope, apparently. Okay. I don't get it either, dude. Sorry. So that appears to be all the way home. And I think it's the 2 mil for this one. This is the part I hated last time. You've kind of got to slide everything up and into place without losing the screws. And you're doing it almost entirely blind. As you can see, it's not the easiest thing to do. Some people have said that it's often easier to do it without the PTFE in place. So I'm going to try that. There we go. Use a rubber clown hammer. I don't think that's seating right. I'm trying not to have to go around the front of the printer so you guys can still see what's going on. So I'm looking at my screen backwards, which is orientated backwards compared to what I'm doing. It feels like that wants to start screwing, but it doesn't. It just won't. Tighten this one down a little further. If anybody's got any suggestions, I'm all ears, because this is not easy. I know that's not seated. So what I'm having trouble with, guys, is I just can't get this front screw to screw into the filament sensor body. And that part is the worst. So I'm not the only one. I'm going to try something. Now, this is my mellow fiberglass ruler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this screw off. And it's now out. And I'm now going to use that as a lever to hold the body in place. Now, the reason I picked this fiberglass is because it shouldn't be able to mar the steel. And that actually worked quite well. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take the side panel off the printer. It's a pain in the backside. So that's all in place. That's all in place. Levers in place on the top of the tool head. And now we need to pop the filament back into here and slide it all the way home. And that's actually sitting pretty much exactly where it was before. And because I'm not crazy, and I am not going to assemble this until I've tested putting some filament through there. And that went through dead easy. And with the switch flicked the other way. Yep. That works nicely. Huntsman spiders are cool. Yes, they are very, very cool. Imagine, let's switch back to, imagine the face huggers on alien movies. that's about as big as they are. Have we already done the firmware? No, we have not. Because the instructions didn't tell me to yet. So that's all in place. That's the magnets I was trying to use if the screws were steel, but they're not. Rename Hunts. Yeah, adopting them as pets is a good thing. Huntsman spiders help keep the other bugs under control, so they're definitely not something you get rid of. Now I'm confident enough to put the side panel back on. Now this takes a little bit of patience. Sometimes you just need to rock the little expanding rivets with your thumb, and there's always one that you have to pull out and just re-squeeze closed. You guys can see what's going on, so that's good. I've actually been trying to get my streaming software set up so that the moderators can change their view, but for some reason the permissions just don't work nicely. So just for now, it's all being done by me, and I have to remember. The other thing I have to remember is click Go Live Fill. It helps. Then people can actually watch you. So side cover is on. I'm not going to put the top cover on yet because we want to see what else is going on. I'm going to yank the power cord from here. Actually, let's show you guys something, because I'm not sure if I've ever showed you guys before. Now, many of you know I teach high school science and engineering. So I stole this idea from the bench labs at work. Conduit ducting running down the back of the bench, and power points every so often in the conduit, and also network points. They're actually separated inside the conduit by a plastic strip, so the network cables can't get wrapped up in the power cords. But yeah, that means that I've got basically all the power points I need, and they're connected. That half is connected to one 15 amp fuse, that connects to another 15 amp fuse, and it's all 240 volts because that's what we run here in Australia. So that means that I've got plenty of power to spare. Now, I have an extension cord that I use while I'm working on this part of the workshop. So I've just plugged in the power cord and the printer is booting back up. Where are we at? We're at 11:50. Now, we started 30 minutes later than normal, so I've got about another 35-40 minutes left in my stream window. James does all that for me. Okay. Did you put the inside PTFE tube on? I did that, the inside PTFE tube before I screwed the sensor in Tulsa, and then I removed the short little piece that's on the side completely and inserted that once I'd screwed the orange strip back to get in. So just having a look at the next steps. Now it's talking about installing the spool holder, which we're not going to do because we don't need to. And they say to actually remove the PTFE, so that's different from when we originally built the printer. They're saying to put the lid back on, but I'm not going to. After completing the upgrade, we recommend on performing a self-test and calibrating the filament sensor. So go to settings, go to hardware, and chamber vent control. Oh, so we need to install the firmware. Where's the instructions for that part? Not covered here. That's okay. From memory, all we have to do is put it onto the USB stick anyway, so that's no big deal. Now, minimize all of this, and go to my file browser, go to my downloads. There's the firmware. Copy to my portable drive, Control V. And that's in place. That one. Not sure what's going on with that, so let's go back to that one. Okay, so what I've done is I've just copied from my hard drive to the memory stick that's plugged in here, the firmware. Firmware update. So I've just gone into the menu and going to download and copy the BBF file to the USB flash drive, insert the drive into the printer and turn it on or restart it. Okay, so we need to shut off the printer. And power it back up again. Let's see if I can retarget that for you. There we go. That might be that one that's glary. It helps a little. So new firmware available 6.4.0, and it's waiting for me, and I'm going to hit flash. Verifying the firmware. Flashing the firmware. And we're at 6%. So now I can have a look at chat now I've got all this hard stuff out of the way. You really like the new spool holder. The only reason I'm not using it, Nomad, is because of the environment here. It's too wet and humid a lot of the time to make it possible to leave my filament out. So I'm going to go back to using that filament box that was on the printable short. L1 and L2 and maybe a neutral and should be ground. Yeah, one live, one neutral, and one earth, to be a better way of describing it, is the way that most of the world does it. Makes wiring a lot easier, and you don't have those crazy undervoltage situations or overvoltage situations where you're not balancing your phases properly. For those of you who haven't joined my Discord, please feel free to do so if it floats your boat. And if you haven't liked and or subscribed, please also do that. Flashing equals demonetized. Not that kind of flashing, thank goodness. Now, if anybody's wondering what's going on with these cabinets, this is the leftovers from the kitchen cupboards and a drawer that we had removed when we had the kitchen cupboards remodeled. And it actually matches the cabinets behind when we had the cabinets done in here. And the rest of it is actually an IKEA Alex, the wide one, on caster wheels, and I printed some risers so that the top here sits the same height as my printer bench. That way I don't have to lift anything across different heights. It's much safer for my back. Depends on which platform. Nick hands out way too often on OnlyFans. I don't mind that he tips me a lot, but it's all good. We don't judge. So we are back. Let's go to Chrome for a minute and see what it says. Scrolling all the way down, all the way down. Already done this, already done this. First run, after completing the upgrade, we recommend performing a self-test and recalibrating the filament sensor. Make sure the mechanical filament switch is on. The switcher is up. Okay. So to do this, it says to go to settings. So I've just adjusted the switch. I can't get it all in this shot. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe if I go to, you can sort of see it in the side views better that way. It says to go to settings, then down to hardware. And then it says to go to chamber vent control. Turn that to auto. So that's now set to auto. But it was also talking about recommend performing a self-test and recalibrating the filament sensor. Filament sensors, filament sensing is on. Manual belt tuning's in here. It doesn't tell you where to go for the... Is it talking about just simply stuffing the filament in and seeing what happens? Doesn't change anything here. Anybody got any pointers for me? Because it's not particularly clear on what it's actually saying here. After completing the upgrade, we recommend performing a self-test and recalibrating the filament sensor. Make sure that the mechanical is switched on. The switcher is in the up. Sometimes the beta BTT boards go up in smoke. Yes, they most definitely do. Dude, that would be an awful lot of money if you did. Nick's just saying that he would tip me if on OnlyFans if I updated all my Clipper machines. I can't find that, so let's... Sensor info. In here. Filament sensors, here we go. Yep, I can see the filament sensor is triggering, so that's good. So for those of you who are wondering, I ended up going into info and then into sensor info and then scrolling down until I found it. Now, one thing I most definitely need to do is the Z alignment calibration. Okay, so that's all done. Return. Now, is there anything else that I need to do here? Is there any software that I need to adjust or anything in my macros, or does it just do it as necessary? Exclamation fart on the drop base. Okay. I'm gonna stop asking. Now I've just moved the tool head back into the middle of the printer, so it's nowhere near the top. There we go, that's probably a better view. And again, I'm just going to massage these expendable rivets into their spots. And there's always one that you drop. And I found it again. I'm on the roll today. I haven't lost anything so far. I do have a whole bunch of spares, but I'm trying not to use them. So just putting the expander pins in so it locks it all in place. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it looks like we're good to go. Just scrolling through quickly the instructions one more time in Chrome. Don't need to worry about that, already done that. Set the chamber vent control to auto, and we're done. Let's have a quick look at these comments, see if there's anything. Okay, so nothing in the comments that seems significant. It looks like I'm guessing the firmware handles it based on just the slicer print start. So we're done. Shall we give it a try? Let's load some. Actually, I need to put the spool holder back in. Yes, I did set the vent setting to auto Tulsa. Now, you guys are probably going to watch me drop this on the floor again, but that's all good. I'm just looking for my driver again. There it is. I've actually got pretty good at aligning this first time. I've taken it off like 3 or 4 times. And I did make one small modification to the original, and that's to put heatset inserts instead of just screwing it into the plastic, which was the original designer's idea. And that's in. So let's find the bed sheet. Where did I put the bed sheet? It's here somewhere. There it is. Sorry, I'm just getting off. There's a spot on the plates that builds up a little bit of the purge from the print start. And I just like to clean it off every time I take the plate out. So that's all in place. Cover is currently open. Let's find ourselves a nice quick print to go with this. Actually, I'm better off doing it this way. Bear with me a sec, please, guys. And that one. Okay. So let's find ourselves something to print. Helps if I'm actually using the So we don't want to print out another Core One. Not at this point anyway. Let's go to... Actually, we could print out another dummy nozzle tool. That'll do. This time I'm going to print it in generic PLA. And let's print it in the nearest thing to I've got to Prusa Orange. That's for giggles. Checking its PLA so we don't have a rinse and repeat of the switch situation. For those of you who missed the beginning of the stream, I was explaining that I spent an embarrassing number of times printing out the orange sensor switch, only to find out that the reason it kept failing and printing out all nasty was because I had been a little bit dumb and I'd been printing PLA Plus using ABS settings, and that was causing heat creep issues and all sorts of nastiness. And that's made it to the tool head sensor. So it's going to load the filament. That's the overhead cam, so that one. And we're loading PLA. And let's go back to here for a second. And we're going to go PLA and slice now. Actually, we're not going to do it that way because that's going to cause us a problem. We need to flip it over, guys. That's better. Now it'll actually print. Slice now. Send it to connect. Now you guys still can't see the overlay. It doesn't seem to work reliably. Add to, print queue at number 1. I don't know why you guys can't see this. Let's try that one. Ah, there we go. That's better. So it's currently purging the filament through. It was printing ABS before this, so I'm going to give it an extra long purge, I think. Oh no, it's looking like it's print. Oh no, that didn't look quite right at the end. Oh no, that's good. There's a little tiny blob on the nozzle. There we go. So, let's get rid of the firmware file so we don't have any more issues. Delete file. And we're going to go print. Confirm. Printer has not received the command yet. Sorry, I can't see chat at this point, so I'm missing some of what's going on. So you can send G-code commands to do it. Oh, that's good to know. Set to ready and print now. Yes. Is it doing it? Set ready. Yep. Command already exists. Why isn't the printer doing anything with it then? Sorry guys, I'm just a bit confused what it's doing. Set ready. Is the printer ready? Is the print sheet in place, empty and clean? Confirm. If this doesn't work, I might reboot the printer and see what happens. Yeah, I'm going to reboot the printer. Okay. Printer is powered up. It says the printer's on the Wi-Fi. But it says it's offline here. Let's try. Have I been logged out of printables? Is that what's going on? No, it says I'm logged in. Settings. Network. And it says I have an IP address. Oh, it's found it now. Okay, set as ready now, and it's actually accepted that. And the print job is already sitting on the printer. It just opened the vent. Sweet. Well, that worked. And Now it's going to go through its warm-up cycle, which is probably going to take a while. But yeah, it's taken a lot longer to get here than I hoped it would, but we're certainly making progress. Now I have got this set on a really coarse layer height. It's 0.28, just so I can smash a few of these tool head nozzle thingies out for the index, my prototyping. That's better. Yeah, thermal imaging distribution boards is a very, very good idea, Miko. One of my sidelines is I integrate something called Clipsal CBus. Miko, I know what it is, but a lot of you overseas guys won't. Essentially, it's a full home automation platform. Rather than having normal light switches, I essentially have a network of light switches that all feed back to a central control system, and that's then does whatever I ask it to. It means that if my wife decides that she doesn't want the light switch to do this today, she wants to do something else, I can just log in and do it. I'll go grab one so you guys can see it. And the best part about it, this is all run on CAN bus. CBus, CAN bus. That's one of my light switches. Dot matrix LCD display and 2-pin power over CAN interface. Miko, you're one of the first Sparkies I've heard recently who's actually said that they don't mind it. When I did my integrators course, there was about 18 of us on the course. There was 3 people who were just trained to be integrators, and there was a whole bunch of electricians who didn't want to be there. They'd just been forced to be there by their boss. And you could tell because they were all very, very negative about it, and they hated it. But it was mostly a case of half of them couldn't even boot up their laptops on their own without one of us helping them, and they were scared of it. I've actually got to the point where I can, I've got an interface device which is basically a Raspberry Pi with a software package on it. It has both Home Assistant and Homebridge on it, and it also has the Clipsal CBus networking package on it. So they talk to each other, and I can basically do Hey Siri for the whole house. You just don't like having a machine having control of all your stuff. This can be completely offline questionable. You don't have to have it online. I choose to have it online, but it's behind a firewall, and the only sort of maybe public access is via Siri. And they've just recently upgraded the HomeKit to be completely end-to-end encrypted. So I don't have any worries there. Not a Sparky, but you work with a lot of that kind of stuff. You work closely with Sparkies. Exactly the same. If a client comes to me and say they want to go CBus, I've got 3 Sparkies that I use on a fairly regular basis for doing that sort of work. Unfortunately, the work has pretty much dried up since money got tight in Australia. So it's a case of now just, I was just doing a dab test to make sure the nozzle's clean. It's now just a case of waiting for the economy to pick back up, and hopefully I'll get a lot more work again. It's really good money when people are buying it. For people who aren't familiar with the Clipsal CBus, essentially all of the light switches, power points, and all that sort of stuff can be remote controlled by the platform, and it all feeds back to a bank of dimmers and relays in my garage. and so does the network of light switches. And I've got a touch screen in the kitchen which can control the whole house, along with that Raspberry Pi that does the interfacing for the home bridge. And essentially, you log into the software, you tell it what you want light switch A to do, which light you want to actually connect it to, and it's super easy. It's basically point and click. Network and server engineer by trade. I used to do something very much like that. I was at a big telco, and I used to run their connection from the telco over to Research in Motion in Canada for BlackBerry. Before that, I was doing mobile network data. I originally trained as an aero design engineer. Waiting for the hot end. It's really interesting that Prusa's standard profile likes 230 for doing this. You like Z-Wave. It's an interesting mix. There's potentially a lot of lag on Z-Wave, which irritates me. Civil and water waste. Oh, micOSE. Now I know who it. I thought it might be, but didn't want to dob you in just in case. Now, while we're waiting for this to start, I will just remind everybody, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I can see there's a few people lurking in the background who may just have it on in the background or who've gone to sleep. And it's printing, and the first layer looks like it's pretty decent. Actually, I know what I need to do. Need to press and hold the dial. I've just lowered the first layer height just ever so slightly to try and counteract that issue we were having before. Let's see if I can get this other camera in nice and close for you guys. Why is that all floppy? There we go, that's better. And you're not going to be able to see anything past that bar. Go up a bit higher. There we go. Now, while this is all doing its thing and we're watching this print go by, I'm just going to let everybody know that I have been working on my always click it 2 times on every stream. Thanks, Questionable. During my off time this week, because Mrs. Maker has been in Sydney, which has given me a little bit more spare time because I'm not having to do all the chores she asked me to do. I have been working on my box turtle, and I got to a couple of layers from the end, and then the dog came charging through, chasing after God knows what that was out the front, and he banged into the cable and pulled the power cord out. But I got to like maybe 3 or 4 layers from the end of the print, and it is working. I probably need to work on my nozzle cleaning a little bit, but it's very, very close now, guys. Now, I probably should have run an input shaper, but I can't see the point because it's going back on the bench. See if I can get you guys that little bit closer. I don't think I can get you any closer without the camera falling off the bench. But it seems to be working. So I think we can call this a job well done. That's not one I want that one. And I'm going to steal you guys up here. So what we've managed to get done today is we've managed to upgrade our Core One from extended Core One to Core One Plus. We have tested out the slider thingy that operates the top hatch, and it worked quite nicely. It took a lot longer than I was hoping for. I was hoping to do a couple of extra things with you guys, but it didn't quite work out that way. Some of it doesn't help that I didn't click go live. I'm going to put a post-it note on my screen to say go live, and that hopefully will remind me, because it's not the first time I've forgotten to do it. So I have been Phil. I have been the Down Under Maker. I have worked my ass off to get this done for you guys, and it seems to be that we are making progress. It's time for me to hop on out of here. Bye, guys.